My name is Julian Muscio. My role here at Luna is the owner slash manager slash kind of everything you can probably think of when you run your own business. We're almost exactly 6 years from the opening day. And it began because I grew up in the restaurant world. So since I was a little kid, my parents owned restaurants, pizzerias, things like that. They're immigrants from Argentina. I've kind of been in the industry my whole life. I've been working at both of those places my whole life. And then I graduated college, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I started working at the other restaurant, which is called Paisanos. It's in Rutherford. It's been around for about 40 years now, so it's been there for a very long time. And then when I moved to Jersey City about a decade ago, I just happened to see this space and it was available, and one thing led to another, and I was very fortunate to be able to create Luna in this space. The reason why we named it Luna in the first place was because we wanted a term that fit with what the restaurant would be. So Italian and Spanish roots, this word identifies with them as well. But then also it has a little bit of everything. It has some American food. It has some influences that we've gotten over the years from traveling over the world. So we wanted a word or a symbol that kind of encompassed something that belongs to everybody. And we thought that the moon and Luna was a good way to do that. And it's also just, there's so many things you can do with it in terms of marketing and ideas that come to us that all revolve around the moon. There's a lot that goes into it when you're picking a name. I remember having maybe close to 50 ideas of names, and each one kind of, would have probably taken the space in a different direction, taken the concept in a different direction. And I'm happy that we decided on Luna because since we did it, there's been so many things that we've kind of fallen into, even our logo, our design, our kind of aesthetic, all revolves around the moon as well at this point. I would say a lot of the aesthetics and what you see was kind of built into the space already. The exposed brick, this loft area that we're sitting in right now that sits above the bar, it's very unique. It's got very high ceilings. So when I saw this space, I really fell in love with it. Then it was a matter of just putting our twist on it. What makes Luna different than the space that was here before. We installed a new bar to kind of give it a more appealing look. We repainted everything. We put art decor on it. We set up this whole loft area with flowers. And then as the time went by, over the 6 years, we slowly add things and we slowly just keep improving. We painted behind the bar. We added a big moon there. I meet people all the time who are I've been living in Jersey City X amount of time. It could be a year, it could be 10 years. And pretty close, right? They'll say, I live down by Harborside. And when it comes up that I own Luna or whatever, a lot of them haven't heard of it, never been here. And it's kind of crazy to say wow, there's so many people in this area that don't know about certain places, right? Whether or not it's someone who goes out or not, that all kind of plays as well, but it's pretty crazy. And word of mouth, I think, is still kind of the biggest thing you can have. So not everybody leaves a review and not everybody takes a photo and posts it, but most people have an opinion when they go to your spot. So we may not get to see or hear that opinion, but we've got to do everything we can on our end to make sure that their opinion of Luna is worth speaking to somebody else about. We try to stay active and we try to do a lot of things and be involved in the community and really be seen, because that awareness is key. We do hear a lot of people's feedback. I have a lot of regulars at this point. We are kind of, and this is what I wanted to create, is a place where you feel like you can get, number one, a great meal. That's the most important thing. And I think for a restaurant or a place that serves food, the number one thing you want to do is provide a good product. Sure, we miss the mark sometimes. Nobody's perfect, but it's being accountable and it's following up and making sure that you can correct those errors, right? We have a lot of people who have become big fans of Luna, and sometimes you see it even through the takeout orders, the tablets. You see repeat customers. but try out a lot of different items and say, oh wow, this is my first time trying, the espresso short ribs. I always get the regular short ribs and I was blown away. It's really cool and it's nice, and we have a bunch of different food items, and it's very widespread. It's not just Italian food, strictly that. There's a lot of items that you would say, oh wow, I didn't think that I could find something like this. And we try to offer something that kind of everyone would like, that you can always find something that almost anyone would be interested in eating at the restaurant. That was always my idea. So when we created the menu, we said, well, why don't we take the best-selling items of Paisano's, the restaurant that's been successful and known for its food for over 40 years, and just bring them here and do that. So all of our pastas are homemade, every single one that we sell here. And some of them come still from Paisano's every week. Either I go over there or somebody brings them over. We have a delivery driver sometimes who brings them over, but they're freshly made, and we serve those every day. So some we make in-house as well. Homemade pasta is kind of our main thing that we go off of, but then we have other items that are, like I was saying, not Italian-based. We have a churrasco, which is more from where I grew up, Argentinian style. It's that nice skirt steak. We have some really great fish like bronzino and salmon that we sell as well. And then we have other dishes that kind of are more fitted for the bar. We have this pizza that's one of a kind. We call it the Che Pizza, and it's basically a Detroit-style pizza, but it's a personal style Detroit style. So most places you go, if you get Detroit style, they're pretty large, and you have to share usually between 2 or 3 people, but here we do them personal size. So it's actually something very unique that you can't find anywhere else, and people are falling in love with it. Like, we have people who say that they're addicted to it. It's very soft and gooey, and it's very different from the pizza next door, which is, world-renowned pizza. But it's, there's so many different styles, and it's up to really your liking. And then we have other things like burgers, wings, but each one of those, when we created it, we tried to say, okay, what's going to make ours different? Why is the Luna burger different from every other burger? It's really an honor. It's really cool to hear people, tell you that, oh my God, I love this dish, and it's something that you created. Usually in this business, there's not a lot of creativity that comes into it. It's kind of very structured, and it's, you're running a restaurant, margins, all of that thing. So there's space for creativity is kind of limited, but you can really do that in your menu, in your drinks, and then your space as well, how you decorate, the vibe you give. So in terms of food and drink, it's really nice to see what you put out gets received well. Local business plays a role in the community of, I would say, whatever you set out to do, right? So you could be a local business that just focuses on running your business and not really being too involved in the community, and that's fine as well. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. But when you are more involved, you are more seen and more known, more recognized, and people associate with you in a different way, right? So you get more spoken about, and like I said before, word of mouth is still very important. So I think it's important to at least be aware of what's going on, take part in whatever you can, whatever you're either physically able to or financially able to contribute, and just be seen, make sure that you're taking part in what's going on around you, because it's important. I mean, it's no surprise that Jersey City's gone through a big reformation in the past decade, maybe even 20 years. And more specifically downtown, there's a lot of changes that are being seen. And I think there was a stigma about Jersey City. When you speak to people who used to live here a long time ago, will say, oh my God, it's changed so much. You hear so many people say that, right? So, it's kind of impactful to know, considering where Luna is located, right in the heart of downtown, just 2 blocks away from Grove Street Path, that we are a part of that. We are bringing fine dining experience, but that also has a nice casual atmosphere to people where maybe they couldn't get it before. So when people maybe consider, oh, I'm going to move to Jersey City instead of ABC, and they start to think about why, a lot of times, restaurants come into play. And they say, well, the restaurants and nightlife, all of those things. So for maybe somebody, we've had a lot of people who have come by here and you're like, oh, we were just looking at this apartment and we wanted to have lunch or dinner. And then they end up moving here and I see them as regulars. So it's kind of like, oh, wow, well, we had an influence on maybe this person's decision to live or move to Jersey City, Hudson County, whatever it may be. Took a pretty large toll. So, it was obviously something unprecedented. No one had ever dealt with it. Things are pretty wild. You're concerned about your own health, about your family's health, your employees' health. You're trying to run a business, you're trying to stay open. It's interesting because we were actually coming up on one of our renewal dates on our lease. So we had like an option to maybe get out, and I considered it. But I had put in so much time, effort, passion, blood, sweat, tears into this space that I didn't want to give up yet. And we still didn't know that we'd be where we are now. So at the time, everything was very unknown. So I said, we're going to go for it and we'll stay here and whatever happens, happens. And luckily, things are now, better than ever. We really found ourselves in that time, I would say. We found our identity. We went back to kind of basics, focusing on who we are and making sure that, we do the best that we can for everybody in terms of our employees and our customers. There's some changes that happened that stayed permanent as well, apart from outside. Like our menu, for example, we switched over to these QR code menus, which I know a lot of people have issues with nowadays still. However, we didn't just want to do the basic thing of doing a PDF and you have to kind of zoom in and try and read something. So we actually worked with a company where they do a way more interactive menu, and you get photos and it's very easy to navigate, and descriptions, and they're very responsive, and I still work with them. So whenever I think of an idea, like saying, oh, what would be cool if a menu could do this, I tell them and they usually add it on. So we're kind of like creating this new menu experience that nobody else really has. So, that's something that, again, came from COVID, but has ended up being something that's helped the business and helped my life be easier because I can just change things on the fly. We have a lot of people who visit Jersey City who aren't from Jersey City, who aren't from America even, who don't really speak the language. And if you can see what you're going to be getting as opposed to just reading items, it changes totally what you order. And it's helped improve because people don't send things back as often. They don't say, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting. Or, whatever you see in the photo is what you're going to get. So it also makes us keep our standards high and say to our kitchen, look, it needs to come out exactly like you see, or our cocktails need to come out exactly like you see in the photo. Nobody wants to get, the picture of the Big Mac, and then the Big Mac you get is nothing like what you saw. So again, it's all tailored to the customer experience and making sure that people get what they see and what they think they're paying. Things are difficult right now for restaurants. I speak to a lot of restaurant owners. We have a restaurant owner meeting that happens every month, and we know that people are struggling, and it's because prices are up, interest is down for, in general, people going out. There's a lot of ordering that gets done. People are just, in this moment in time, very financially kind of cognitive, let's say. Like, they're thinking about it a lot. So, Luna, what do we want to be, right? Where do we want to be? Obviously, we want this big space to always be full with people. Hard to do because a lot of weekdays, not a lot of people go out and things like that. So we really just want to find our groove and be regular and be consistent always. That's something that I think the good restaurants can achieve, and that will really establish your longevity, is being consistent. So that goes from everything. And let me tell you, being a restaurant owner, like, you walk in one day, consistency is very hard to achieve because there's usually a big turnaround in staff, and you're always constantly teaching people new things. You're always kind of on top of everybody, making sure that they follow, whatever you establish to be your system at your restaurant. And without a good system, you'll probably not succeed. So we want to make sure that we stay consistent. We want to offer something that you can't find anywhere else, which I think that we have with a lot of our dishes and a lot of our cocktails. I don't think we have the best cocktails in Jersey City. I think we have the best food in Jersey City. Like and I'm talking about the best, right? Top. But I think that we are up there. I think that we do offer something that you can't find everywhere, and at a reasonable price as well. But speaking of best, we have won Best Espresso Martini 2 years in a row. So we do have the best of something based on people's votes too. It's not just something that one person decides. So the people have voted us Best Espresso Martini. And we're going for year number 3 here. And that's another thing where I was saying consistency. So now people come in with that expectation of people say this is the best. And I've had so many espresso martinis, they got to live up to the hype. So every single one that we make has to live up to that hype. So that's pretty cool. You put that, that pressure on yourself and on your bartenders, and you constantly want to be recognized as having the best of something, at least. Yeah, for sure. So that's where I think we want to be at with Luna. We want to be a place that is recognized always as being high quality.